Welcome to Scholar Online YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching, guys. This is the channel that is all about learning. We're here to teach you how to do it yourself, do your own stuff, and start making money online with e-commerce and any other thing that is website related. If you recall, last week I made a video about how to get free marketing online for your e-commerce store. I showed you a couple of places you can go to just to post adverts for free, and that is important. So if you haven't seen that video, have a look at the description below. I will link it there, or you can just have a look at our video list and you will find a video about free marketing and 3 places you can go get free marketing. But in this video, I'm going to show you what's even more important than free marketing, and that is a paid marketing. No e-commerce store has become successful without it. If you go to Google, this is a Google page, and I've just Googled a cell phone, okay? You can Google anything that is basically being sold at a store, especially an e-commerce store, and this is what's going to come up, okay? At the very top, you're going to see those sponsored searches, and you will see a lot of cell phone sales, images, prices, and the store which you can go and buy this from. This is what we call a Google Merchant, a paid shopping advert, okay? These are the key to e-commerce success. Every e-commerce store that has made it has got one of these adverts running. These adverts appear right at the top of the Google search bar. So it doesn't matter if you've got a Google My Business account. It doesn't matter if you've got good SEO, everything else appears below it, okay? Good SEO appears at the bottom. This is Google My Business, but right at the top of a Google search, this is what appears, and it appears with nice, beautiful images to show people what you're selling, and this is what you want. So if you're selling watches and somebody Googles for watches, you want your watches to be the first thing that appears at the top, the image of the watch, the description, the price, and this is a good comparison. So if I was trying to buy cell phones, I'd already look at, oh, okay, my store South Africa sells this for 11,000, Shopcrate sells this for 24,000, Ikoka is 499, and this is already what clients are doing in their minds, comparing prices, and they're going to click on this. So I'm going to just click on this to just see where this takes me, and it should be taking me directly to that store that is selling this item, and directly to their shop page. And this is an e-commerce store similar to the stores we've built, okay, but it's obviously from a popular brand, but you just built a store that looks like this. And if you can make your own Google merchant adverts, you will look exactly like this. And you can immediately add this to your cart, pay this 11,000 rands, boom. Okay, so this is a good way of making sales and conversions. But obviously this is a sponsored, okay, so this is a paid for, okay, but this is a free for all market. So anybody, absolutely anybody, even you sitting right there watching this video, can create your e-commerce store and create your adverts to look just like this, and people will find them and they can buy from your e-commerce store. And this is how people are driving sales off the roof and making a whole lot of money, killing on e-commerce. It is a paid for service, but I can assure you right now, if you've got the right product, it is well worth the paid version, because you will more than pay for your advertising in the long run, and you will actually make a huge profit if you do this right, okay? So let's just get straight to it and get started. So what you need, especially if you're working with a WooCommerce, is you're going to do a lot of these things manually. If you are on Shopify, perhaps I'll do another video for this on Shopify, but Shopify really simplifies this whole process with their plugin from Google. But with the WooCommerce, you have to do a little bit, you have to do things a bit more manually, okay? So the first thing that you need is what we call a Google merchant account, okay? So this is, if you go to Google and search, I just did Google merchant search, and the one that comes up which says Merchant Center, Google for Retail, that's the one that you want. And I just open it on a new window, and just spend a little bit of time and read about this, getting started on the Merchant Center. Here's what you can do with a merchant account. You can upload accurate product information directly to the merchant account and reach customers across Google. This is the kind of advert I showed you at the top there. You know, that's the advert you're going to be creating using the Google Merchant. Discover more insights and drive your growth using Google Shopping, okay? So there's a couple of things you need to have in place before you get started with this, and we're going to just get through that very, very quickly. Now back at our WordPress backend of the website, we need to go and look for plugins. Okay. So let me just search for plugins and have a look at all the list of plugins that we had installed. If you recall, the first time you run your WooCommerce setup wizard, WooCommerce is going to recommend 3 additional plugins that work best with WooCommerce. It's going to recommend Facebook plugin, Google shopping plugin, and it's going to recommend a MailChimp a plugin. When we did this setup, if you followed along with us, we didn't install any of those plugins. Okay, so we don't have any of them, and the only plugin I recommend from that list is the Facebook one and the MailChimp one, because you're going to need it for email marketing. But as far as the Google Shopping one, I don't actually use that plugin because it's a bit expensive. When you use that plugin, you let them manage everything for you. And if you're a beginner and you don't have the time to do this manually yourself, you can install that plugin and just set it up and pay them, and then they manage your Google shopping for you. Okay, and obviously they take a cut for their hard work and their troubles. But if you are a DIYer and you came here because you want to learn how to do things yourself, this is the method that I recommend, is to do your Google shopping manually yourself, so that you pay Google Merchant directly, your Google advertising yourself, and you make sure that you set up your adverts correctly so that you get the right optimizations and you're getting the best value for your money. Okay, so you need to come up here and add a new plugin. Okay, you need to search for WooCommerce product feed. It's very important you get it right, because there is a lot of product feed plugins by WooCommerce, and some of them are not free and some of them are not going to do exactly what we want to do. So in order to follow along with this tutorial, please do exactly like I do. Search exactly these words and have a look at the plugins that come up. The one that you want is the one by WebApic, which is that one there. So let's just install that. All right, so our plugin is installed. Where is it? So let's just go to the settings, and so what this a plugin does, it's going to output your product information directly from your WooCommerce store to whatever merchant service you want. So this plugin is useful for multiple merchant sort of accounts. We are going to use it for the Google merchant account for the sake of creating a Google shopping campaign, but you can use it for many other types of campaigns that require product information from WooCommerce. So this will collect the product information and package it in a format that is easily readable by these other websites. Okay, and when you get your Google Merchant synchronized with your WooCommerce store using this plugin, it will also automatically update your product information. So there are 2 aspects to what we're doing here. We have the merchant account with Google, and then we have the sort of the plugin is sort of like the connection, the sort of the enabler that takes our data and supplies our data to the Google Merchant. So there's two parts here. Okay, so we're just going to say get started. Okay, and we're going to create a whole new merchant account. Yay, that's exactly what we're looking for. Awesome. So you got us right. Okay, so you're going to enter the name of your business here, and we're going to say we are Mugel Watches, not a real business. I'm going to delete this as soon as I'm done with this video. All right, and the country that we're operating out of is South Africa, and our time zone is GMT +2. That's correct. Where do you want your customers to check out? On my website, and this is what your customers will see. The price, whatever, and the images. That's fine. What other tools do you use? I'm not using Shopify or PayPal. Would you like to sign up for emails about Google Merchant? I don't mind the updates, but I don't want to test new features. Obviously go and read these, okay, and especially the fine print, and then when you're done reading that, click I've already read this, so I'm perfectly happy. And as you do that, it will create your merchant account for you. Okay, so this merchant account, that is the number of the account. It has created it for Mugel Watches with my email address. and we are ready to use. So we're going to say continue, and we can start to add product data, shipping, website information, and so forth and so forth. So the product data, this is what I was telling you about. Okay, the product feed, this is what you are building using the plugin, because you don't want to input this product manually. You can, if you're running a small store, maybe you're just selling one item, or you're selling stuff that you're producing from home, maybe just 3 bags, you can do this manually and add products manually and just click on this and put in, okay, I'm selling this thing, and every time your prices change, you will have to come here manually and update it. But if you have anything on WooCommerce or Shopify, especially if you're drop shipping, where the prices change all the time, products come in and out of stock all the time, you're always adding new items to your store and removing old items, so your feed is always constantly changing. You won't be able to come and do this here manually every single time. You have to create a product feed that will do this thing for you automatically. So we're going to go with the product feed option. Okay, we're in South Africa, and we speak English. Services across Google, I'm happy with that. All right, so the product primary feed name, let's just call this test feed 1. I mean, you can call this anything you want, okay? And you can choose whether you are going to do Google Sheets, scheduled fetch, upload content API. Okay, so what is Google Sheet? Google Sheet is you'll make updates to your product feed in a Google Sheet, and they'll automatically be applied to your account. So you'll create a Google Sheet which you update regularly, and you can do this for a manual store as well. So if you have a manual store, you can create a Google Sheet with like different columns of all the different stuff that you want, and this you can just only update the Google Sheet. And then what this merchant account will do is that it will just go and constantly fetch that information from the Google Sheet, so you don't have to update this here yourself. But it's the same thing as doing a manual update. Okay, so we're not going to do that. A scheduled fetch is that you host a file on your website, okay, and that file contains data, and then on a regular basis, Google fetches that file for updates, and that's what you want. Okay, so what these plugins do, that's exactly what they do. They will host a file, an XML file, or will just double check the file format, and on a regular basis, Google will fetch from that file and get all of the updated information. Or you can use an API or upload, where you keep a file on your computer and regularly upload this file via FTP, Google Cloud. So this really depends on the infrastructure around your store, okay, and the kind of store that you've got, whether you're doing things manually or you just want to automate things using an API or a Google Fetch, okay. But in our case, we're going to go with scheduled fetch. Okay, so let's continue. All right. And over here, you're going to enter the name of the file, okay? How often you want it to fetch, how often do you change the information on your website? Perhaps daily is a good one. I mean, this doesn't cost Google anything, doesn't cost you anything, so you don't want to miss a change, okay? If you had a special today, you don't want to wait a whole week until the information is updated on Google, and what time you want this to happen, okay? I do a lot of my updates a lot of the times at night, okay? So if I say like 4 a.m. in the morning, by 4 a.m. I'm done, because I don't do a lot of updates during the day when people are busy shopping. And that's the time. And then you're going to put the URL of the file there, and if there's a password to the file, and then you're going to create feed, okay? We don't have the file yet because we haven't created it yet. So that's what we need to do now. Okay, back to our WooCommerce, WooFeed plugin. Just make sure you're at the sort of the front page of it, and there's a couple of things here. How many products do you want to create per batch? This depends on the size of your store, okay, and it also depends on how efficient you want this to be. So our store has about 10 or so products that we created. We don't have a lot, so I'm going to just put this at 20 because I will not be selling more than 20, but make this based on the number of products you have on your store. Okay, query type, this other information, if you're not sure what you're doing, just leave it as the default and do not change it at all, and just click save changes. Now once you've saved the changes there, what you want to do is you want to go to the feeds and you want to create a new feed. Okay, so under make feed at the bottom there, just click that so you can start creating a new feed. Okay, and what template do you want? Okay, we're creating this for Google Shopping. If you're doing it for Facebook, Pinterest, whatever, you would use any of these other ones. I mean, you can do a Bing one as well if you want to create shopping campaigns on Bing. There's a lot of options that you've got here, Google AdWords, but what we want is this Google Shopping. And you need to give it a file name. So this is important, especially if you're going to create multiple feeds. Okay, you need to have a file name that is unique. So let's call this Google shop, okay, test one. Okay, and the next feed you create, you must not use the same name or it will override this one. You must have a unique name for each and every file name, like you do on your computer. Okay, the feed type, it needs to be XML because it's something you're going to host on your platform that Google is going to read in XML format. Okay, then you're going to come up here and you're going to pick all the things that you want to send over to Google. Okay, the product ID, what is it? It's an attribute and it's a product ID, and just the default. I think that's fine. So you're going to go through this and decide what kind of, if you think of a product, if you think of your product item, your product as a, if you do programming and think about it as a class, okay? And if it's a class has got like sort of variables and attributes in that class, so a class has a name, an ID, and, an image, URL, whatever, all these things in the class of the product class. What are those variable items within the product class that you want to send over? Okay, so these are all the variables that you want to send over to Google, and you can choose what they are. So you want the title, the description, the product link. This is for the image, the category, and I would just sort of leave this as it is if I'm not going to. And you're going to have a regular price, and just make sure that your currency is the right in rands, and it's a price, and all of this is a default, and if you're happy with how everything looks, okay, you have to select something here. Or you can just remove it. Okay, so let's just remove that. Okay, and make sure you have no errors. Okay, and then you can just update and generate feed. So it's going to run this with the current products that you have in your store. Okay, and it's called Google Shop 1, and it's going to give you a URL. Okay, so what you can do is that you can copy this URL. You can view it. You can download the XML. You can view the URL. Obviously, it's an XML page, but let's just view it for interest's sake, okay, for our curiosity. And this is what it looks like. It's really packaged for Google to be able to read. For you, it's not going to make a lot of sense, okay? But you can just open it in another file to just make sure that it looks fine, okay? We're going to go back and we want that link, okay? So I'm going to just copy this link as it is, okay? And this is the link that we need to come back to our Google merchant and put in there. This is a file URL. So what Google will do is that based on this, the frequency that you've given it, it will go to this URL and read this information of this URL. Okay, so let's just give it the same name we've got here so that we do not confuse ourselves. Okay, I'm going to just give it the same file name there. Okay, and if you've password protected your information and you got your username and password, you can do this. And you might want to password protect your information. Why? Because maybe you don't want somebody else to read off, because this is now publicly hosted off the internet. If anybody else had this URL, they would get all your product information. But then again, I mean, this is not secret. This is something that you're going to be displaying on Google anyway. But if you felt you wanted to add on a password, you could do that and make sure you give Google that password, or else it won't be able to read the file either. And then we're going to just create the feed, right? Okay. Okay, so we need to verify that we own this website URL before we can continue. And you're probably going to come across this problem yourself the first time you do this. Okay, so that's why I like to go through this tutorial step by step so that I come across the same challenges you will come across and show you how I resolved it. Now, there's a couple of options they give you here: Google Analytics, Tag Manager, access to my server. And I think the Google Analytics one is going to take us too long. Yes, we can do this, but I'm trying to find the fastest way to do this. Okay, so let's look at that. Add HTML tag. I think this might be faster. Okay, because there's a plugin we can use to just add something to the head of our website. So let's just go to plugins and add a new plugin. I think it's called insert headers and footers. So let's just go headers, footers. Just see what comes up there. Insert headers and footers, that one. Yeah, with over 1 million updates. WP beginner. Yeah, let's do that. I think this is probably the easiest one. And you can use this for your Google tags as well, because once you get a Google what you call a Google what they want you to use there, that analytics account, or even Google advertising, even for this to work, you're going to need a Google to add a Google tag for Google Shopping. Okay, so we haven't gotten there yet, but we will get to it. So eventually we would have had to install this plugin. Okay, so once you've installed it, you activate it. Settings, headers and footers. Okay, once you get here to headers and footers, then you will be able, this is the plugin that you just installed now. Okay, so you can add a script in the header, a script in the heading. If you add it in the header here, it will be added in between the head section of your website, body, and so forth. So you can add like additional scripts. This is exactly what we want. So the script here, we're just going to copy it there. And I'm going to go, let's just close that. And we're going to go to the header of the website and we're going to put it in there. So the script will be added to the header of our entire website. And we're just going to say save. Okay, so settings are saved. Okay, I'm going to just get out of here and go back to my Google Merchant Center and verify URL. Awesome. Okay, so let's claim the URL as well. Good. So now this is done. Google Ads, let's just search for that. All right, and Google Online Advertising. And this is where we're going to create our Google ad. Now here is we're doing 3 different things. The first thing that we did was to first of all get from our back end of our website, we had to get this plugin that is called WooFeed, and this is the one that's going to create the feed for us. Then we had to go to the Google Merchant account and create a merchant account for ourselves that collects that Google information from the plugin. But then this merchant account is now going to feed this into a Google Ads account. So there's like 3 layers to this. The merchant account is going to feed this into the Google account, and we're going to create the shopping campaign from Google Ads. Okay, so you come to Google Ads and you're going to sign in here. Once you've signed in, you're going to go to new campaign. Okay, now when you get to the new campaign, you're going to click on the sales. Okay, there's different types of campaigns here: sales, leads, traffic, wara. What you want is the sales campaign. And then for the sales, the search, display, and there's a lot of other things, but what you want is the shopping. Okay, so you want sales and then you want a shopping. Okay, and then it says down here, you have not linked, select linked account. Okay, so you have not linked account here, so we need to learn more, and so that we can link an account to Google Shops. So let's go back to the Merchant Center and figure out how to do this from the Merchant Center. There's a lot of information here, but lucky for you, you're just watching the tutorial. We're going to go to settings and we're going to go to linked accounts. And under linked accounts, we can see this, our shopping, to create a shopping campaign. We don't have a linked account there. Okay, so we're going to just say link there. Account link needs to be confirmed in a Google Ads. All right, so we need to come back here on Google Ads. There you go. View details. That's the store name, that's the merchant ID. Obviously we did this and we can approve it here and we are happy with it. And so we are linked on our Google account with the Google merchant. Create a whole new campaign, and we're going to create a sales campaign, and we're going to create a shopping campaign. And this time you will see that your Mughal watches has been linked and it will appear there. And you don't have that warning anymore. And you're going to select the country that you're from, and we're going to say we are from South Africa. All right, and then you have different options. Okay, now this is important if you're coming here for the first time, and depending on which one you pick here, you know, there's people that complain and go up and down and then end up handing specialists, but this is actually very simple to understand. Okay, you have two types of campaign: a smart shopping campaign and a standard shopping campaign. If you're doing this for the first time, you need to pick a standard shopping campaign. Okay, smart shopping campaign can be very you know, like it offers better results in the end, but it only works if you've had your store running for a long time and you already have a lot of people on the internet that have already visited and tagged and been tagged on your website. So it will then advertise to people that have already visited your website before. But if you're creating a whole new store from scratch, you don't have a group of people that have already visited your website before. You need to go for standard shopping campaign so that it will just show your adverts to everybody that needs to be going to your store. Okay, so if you're not sure, okay, and you're doing this for the first time, go for standard shopping campaign. All right, so let's just continue there. We're going to enter a campaign name. Okay, we're going to call this Mughal Watches Test 1. All right, and then you're going to pick a bidding strategy. Okay, all right, there's a couple of options. Okay, and I'll just say for this I want to maximize clicks. Okay, and then set a maximized cost per click bid limit. All right, this is important because you don't want the cost per click to go off the roof, and depending on what you're selling, you know, okay, I've seen people like then spending the entire budget on one click if it goes off the roof. So you want to manage this, and I'm going to put this in R1 and say I don't want to spend more than R1 per click, especially for the stuff that I'm selling. There isn't a lot of competition on this, and I think we'll do a whole new video series on how to optimize and to figure out these things. What is the right cost per click? What is the right amount that you should be spending on your advert? There's a lot of sort of work that goes into that as well, and that also depends on what you're selling, because different products have got different what I call advertising rates, and that depends a lot on the competition, the keywords, and who else is bidding for those things that you're selling and how much they're willing to pay. And if you want to feature, you're going to have to outbid them. All right, now then you're going to select your budget there. Okay, and also this also depends on what you're selling, right? And but this budget can really be anything. Okay, I'm just going to start with 50 rands a day. All right, and obviously this is not a real campaign. I'm going to delete this as soon as I've made this, but FYI, just taking you the process, showing you how to do this. This really depends on you. All right, and when you do a shopping campaign, I highly recommend that you don't stop and start the campaign. You pick a budget that you're happy with, all right, and you keep it running, because shopping campaigns generally take up to 3 months just to optimize your your audience. And then the campaign priority, obviously, just keep the default if you're not sure. Okay, and where do you want it to go? Search network and YouTube, whatever, just leave that, don't change it. Obviously you want to advertise in your own country, because you're only shipping to your country. Remember, when you created the store, we're only shipping to our country. You will waste money if you advertise in other countries you're not going to be shipping to. And then when is the end date? I always like I said, I like to leave this open so that it's a campaign that runs continuously. But this is set in such a way that you can come to your Google shopping campaign anytime and stop the campaign. So Google allows you to pick a daily budget, but you can stop it anytime that you want. This is not a contract by any means. So leaving this open is a good idea. But remember, if anything happens, Corona hits or whatever, and you have to stop your item, you're out of stock, whatever it is, you can always come back here and stop your campaign. And then you're going to pick how you want it to look like. For a single product, it's going to look like that, or multiple products. I want to show my watches one at a time. All right, and you have to pick an ad name, and I'm going to call this again test watch number 1. There's one more thing that you need to get done before your advert is going to run. Okay, and Google doesn't do a good job of leading you towards this. And you might have your campaign running. I've already paused it, but you might have it running, showing green, and think that your campaign should be working fine, and then you don't see any impressions. Okay, remember I mentioned to you earlier on Google tag. You need to have a Google tag on your website before your shopping campaign can run. Okay, there's 2 types of tags that you need to have. You need to have a tag on the front page that is going to signal back to Google that somebody has visited your site. Then you need to have a tag on your checkout page, which is like an event tag that is going to signal to Google that somebody has checked out of your store and is going to help tell Google to record a conversion, that somebody that went into your website has checked out. So you need to have 2 tags, one that measures conversions and the other one that measures actual visits to your website. Now, in order to get Google tags, you see my adverts are not running now, okay, but I've paused it. You need to go to your tools, and then you need to go to look for conversions, okay, measurement conversions. And you need to create a new conversion action measurement here, okay? So I'm going to click add, and I'm going to say for the website, okay, to track online sales. And you're gonna go in here and create a new conversion action. Okay, so this is a purchase conversion action because you want to be able to measure if somebody has purchased something from your store. And I'm going to call this Miguel purchase. All right, and then you use the same value for each conversion or different value. I think for simplicity, let's use 1, and let's just say all our watches are 50 rands. All right, and select how many conversions to counter per click per interaction. Let's say every 1. Okay, so every time somebody goes to that page, they would have bought a watch. All right, and 30 days, 1 day, include whatever last click, and let's just continue. And then there's 3 options that they give you. You can get the email via tag, install it yourself, Google Tag Manager. I'm going to choose to install it myself. This is the one that needs to go to the head tag of each and every single website. So I'm going to just copy that there, and then you're going to go to your remember where we had our settings and our insert headers and footers, right? And then you're going to install this at the head tag of your, perhaps you're going to install this just underneath the site verification, and this will be installed on each and every single page of your website. Okay, that's how you do it. Okay, and then you're going to say save, right? And after you've done that, you need to then install the second one. Okay, now the second one is the event tag. The event tag is so the site tag tells you every time someone visits your tag. The event tag tells you when somebody has purchased something, and the event tag is the one that will get tagged on the checkout page. So this event tag you need to install only on the checkout page. If you put this on each and every single page, it will click every time somebody visits your page and tell Google that somebody has purchased, and that's not the case. Okay, so again, you need to copy this and install it only on the checkout page of your website. That's a little bit more involved, and we're not going to do this in this tutorial. Okay, and another best way to make sure that you get this right, and if you're not sure what you're doing, okay, hire a professional. All right, hire a professional, get somebody to do this for you, because you've got to do this right the first time that you do it. All right, and once you've done it once, it's going to be done for all the shopping campaigns that you're going to get involved in the future. A second option, if you don't want to make mistakes, and you don't want to install it yourself, you've got three options. You can email the tag to your developer and they will do it for you, or you can use the Google Tag Manager. Okay, the Google Tag Manager is probably easiest. Then you can connect all your different tags to one Google Tag Manager, for your shopping campaigns, for your analytics, and all the other tags that you need to install on your website, and do it that way. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to learn more useful things. Let me know in the comments below what else you want me to talk about, and I will talk about it. I'm here for you guys to teach you and help you learn how to do things yourself.